Hey, everybody. Good to see you. David Snedeker here on a Wednesday afternoon, 4:45 Eastern Time, 3:45 Central. And I am here with my friend Hawk, and we are, Hawk, you come on in whenever you're ready, buddy. But there he is. There he is. We got
I got him quiet.
Hawk in the house. How you doing, brother?
I got him quieted. Why did I get him quieted? How did I get him quieted? I set him free, Dave. I set
Did
them
you?
all free.
Okay.
Oh, you're about to see. You're about to see. And
How many
I get a
have you
fee
set
for this?
set free?
Yeah, all of them. They're all free. They're all free. You're
Hawk
gonna see
breeds
puppies running
German
around.
Shepherds,
Yeah.
and there you have it, right there.
So
That's a nice little pen
So-
setup you got.
yeah. Did you happen to see the last text that I sent you?
Let's see.
So I went to that podcast and I asked a couple of questions,
Mhm.
and then I got blocked and muted from ever asking any questions again. And so that leads me to believe that if I have legitimate questions and the host is censoring, blocking me, then that tells me that Mike Gill's a grifter. It's exactly what he is, and so is Michelle Moore. My questions were legitimate; they were not disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. And I asked some very poignant questions, and yeah. Somebody even says, H1M7Q must be Matthew or David Snedeker. Yeah.
Which also goes to tell you they'll assume things that aren't accurate as well. That is very very telling, because they don't like questions.
No, they
especially
don't.
ones that aren't convenient for them.
Yeah.
So, welcome everybody. We are coming to you live on this Wednesday afternoon. We've got some things to share with you that are basically so much going on right now, and we're trying to stay ahead of it. I have been MIA for about a week and a half, and I've just got some things in the works. That's all I'm going to say for now. But I it's going to be good, and just doing a lot of reflection, a lot of research, and some good stuff in the works. And let me get rid of that. So, my friends, this is this is quite the show that we are walking through right now, and I just want to get to the comments and say hello, everybody. Let's see. Dee says, "Did you hear about the arrests in Bridgeport, Connecticut for voter fraud?"
Yes, I did. And her name is, let me see here. I know I've got her in my feed because we actually spent some time talking about her. This isn't the Ruby Freeman lady. This is the lady who was working directly for the mayor, and was stuffing ballots and was doing basically nefarious things in regards to the election. Give me a second here and I will have her name for you. I'm not looking at chat right now, guys, so don't put it in chat. I'm looking at my feed. So let's see here. Oh, and Dave, I got a couple of I got a I got a couple of prank videos. These kids, they made videos of uh, alien invasion, and they put it on like it's a news broadcast, and the mamas are freaking out.
I saw that.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, oh,
I don't know if it was funny or annoying.
to me, actually, it's kind of funny because, everybody gets rumors. They get everybody falls into this rumor mill kind of thing. And a lot of times there's just not a, there's got to be
Yes,
some humor around it, because we know that it's a, a Project Bluebeam thing. We know that. We've been warned about that, and it's like, if we don't put some humor to it during any period of time, then we're not really, I guess, we're taking it too serious, I guess, would be the way to look at it. Hey, I look at it like this. Okay, if aliens came down, all right, my first thought are going to be, how do I know that you're not some of the fallen angels? You're not a demon. How do I know this difference? So when we look at this, how do we come to this recourse of trust in that again? Where somebody's reporting on something like that, and we know whether it's true or not. So it seems kind of funny that that people get so serious about this alien thing, that they go into freak out mode about it. And the thing is us that have been hearing about this stuff for for a period of time, we've become lax with it, because of the fact that, okay, it's in our head. We know that that this is going to be a topic of conversation. We know that that this is going to be a a thing that it's going to be televised and everything else. Why not have a little bit of humor? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's I think it's good to have humor with so much of the things. One of the things that I've been tapping into quite a bit is really positive positive mentors like Tony Robbins, like Greg Braden.
He got arrested again, right?
What?
Tony got arrested again. Tony Robbins over there. You're talking about Tony Robbins over in the UK, right?
No, Tony Robbins is the self-help guru.
Oh, okay. All right. No,
You're
okay. I
thinking
think
it's
it's
Tommy Robinson?
Tommy Robinson. Okay. Yeah, I got him mixed up.
Okay.
Yeah. He just got arrested again.
Oh, so Tony Robbins, Greg Braden, and Joe Dispenza. Just just in terms of like, we have so much negative that we're getting hit with every single day from the news, from the our neighbors, from our families, from X, from Rumble, that all this negative stuff that keeps hitting us. It's really, really important for us to shift into a better frequency, and one of those frequencies certainly is humor. Um, and Mikey B says Tommy is in Canada. Did he get arrested in Canada?
I'm not sure where the arrest was. If Brother Ganja Fred Blogs here is He's from the same area that Tommy is from. He might have an answer to that. Is he in Canada, Ganja, or is he in the UK? Where did that arrest happen?
It says it was in let's see. It's hard to narrow that down, isn't it? Yeah, one day ago. A fresh contempt of court case after allegedly breaching an injunction in a libel case he lost. Stephen Yaxley Lennon is his real name. I never knew that. Has had legal action brought against him after allegedly breaching an order preventing him from repeating allegations which he made about Syrian refugee Jamal Hijazi. Hijazi successfully sued Robinson in 2021 over a video which circulated online in 2018 showing the schoolboy being assaulted by another pupil in a playground at Amanduri Community School in Huddersfield. Campaign group Hope Not Hate claimed to gather a dossier of evidence showing Robinson ignoring the injunction while promoting his documentary Silenced and sent it to the UK Attorney General in April 2023. The Attorney General's office confirmed it has lodged papers with the court concerning the civil contempt case, which could see Robinson face up to 2 years in jail. Yeah, when you commit libel against somebody and then you continue to do so, you're digging yourself a deeper hole, and that's exactly what is happening with Mike Gill and Michelle Moore, because they are not. They continue to defame the people that Mike Gill lost the court case against, and then of course they hit everybody else along the way, just like it's a very, very common method of discrediting others in order to raise your credibility. The only problem is you can't discredit everyone and expect yourself to have credibility, because that is, and that's exactly what's happening. Hawk, any initial thoughts going into the show today on, just in terms of, where we're at right now?
Well, right now around me, it is very calm. Everything is very, very calm, except for the puppies. They make me uncalm.
Yeah,
and they are not calm in themselves in any way, shape, or form. However, they are totally. Well, as you can see, they're trashing my place. I've been seeing a lot of stuff. If we were to jump to my X feed, you'd see a lot of what I'm seeing and recognizing is going on. One of the things was this, the manhunt in Utah for that the trans killer there that murdered two people. Colin Bailey, I think the name was. This is a mental illness, and people need to start looking at it as that. It's really getting crazy. How out of control that particular topic is getting. The other one, what I noticed was I'm beginning to see a lot of conversation in regards to child trafficking, the numbers about child trafficking coming up from people who never talked about it before, never even broached the subject in all the years that they've either been doing TikToks or any type of podcast. But now it's actually coming up in the conversation. They're beginning to talk about the rape trees. And then the other topic is what's going on with this push for a food shortage is the other one. Whether it be shutting down the water for the farmers or doing all these different things to the cattlemen, and livestock owners. So those are like my three top contending topics of the day.
Well, the Idaho situation is very tenuous, obviously, but there's so much going on there that they don't talk about, that they're not letting us know about, that they're not letting the farmers know about. And it's intentional, what they're doing to the food supply. It's obvious. And it's also obvious that they have much more pressing things that they're concerned about versus our food supply. So it's almost like, when you make a decision to do something like that, oh my gosh, look at that. Adorable.
I can't talk with your tongue in my mouth here, kid. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, beautiful. How many in this batch?
There's 4 from one and 2 from the other. So there's 6 in a total. And they're totally driving me crazy. Grandma, here, keep the babies interested in you. And what are you doing underneath that cover? You know that, oh Lord. Yeah, Dave, look at what you got me into. He said, you got to keep them quiet, Hawk. You got to keep them quiet so we can do this podcast. And so I set them free, and they're tearing me up.
Are they biting your ankle?
That was nice and orderly. There's one underneath the bed. There's a, oh Lord. What are you doing underneath the bed? What are you doing? Hi. What you doing?
Well, this is, I'll bring up this. We're looking at your, let me pull this up. I'm pulling up your X feed. And there we are. Folks, you can find Hawk at HawkMarsden. He's at 817 followers. Can we see if we can get him up over 1,000 today? And if you don't have an X account, please get an X account, because that's where the new battlefield is. I'm going to take off dark mode here. I think I took it off. Why is it still on? And then
so that's the capture video where they captured that trans person in Utah.
Okay,
that's the actual capture video there. That when they tracked her down, I don't even know what to call it. This is the thing, is it creates this animosity. It's like, okay, do you respect their pronouns? Well, I don't want to play into the mental illness game.
Yeah.
So he got busted, and they now have him in custody, and and that's the important thing,
Well, hopefully, this person is not using the pronoun they. Otherwise, the manhunt continues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it could be. Yeah. How many more? And
Yeah.
you know, the other aspect of what we were talking about before we came live was, you know, this. How do we differentiate this from the other attacks that we've seen go on over the last couple of years? And we were like, and you know, and I said to you, I says the majority of them have been done by people of from the trans community. And you said, but not all of them. Well, 90% of them, of the mass shootings and murders, have been done by, you know, by them, except for the illegals that have come in. You know, that's you know, that's the other point. And that pretty much takes up that other 10%.
Yes. This is how much. What was the shooting? Tell me about the shooting that happened.
She shot 2 people. It's the article for that is right underneath it. Was an add-on. So basically, it was a manhunt underway for Colin Bailey, a man who thinks he's a woman. Goes by Maya. He's the prime suspect for the murder of 2 people. Police say he's armed and dangerous. And then they give information on it. Now, the actual Washington City Police Department, I got to put my glasses on in order to read this. Says on 6/18/2020, 6/18/2024. Oh no, scroll down a little bit farther, and then you'll see that there's an attached that one right there. There you go. On 6/18/2024 at approximately 7 p.m., Washington City Police were informed of shots fired incident at 1039 East Chinook Drive in Washington City by the Consolidated Dispatcher Center. Washington City police officers arrived on the scene and entered the residence through the front door. Upon entry into the home, 2 deceased adults, 1 female and 1 male, were located inside from apparent gunshot wounds. Officers on scene attempted the life-saving efforts on the 2 victims, but efforts were unsuccessful. Upon searching the home further, no other victims and no suspects were located. From the initial investigation, it was apparent a double homicide had occurred. At this time, a single suspect has been identified as Colin Troy Bailey. Colin is a transgender male transitioning to a female and currently goes by the name of Mia Bailey. Further description as a white 5'10" tall, 5'10", 130 pounds and brown hair. However, Mia wears wigs and is known to change hairstyles frequently. Mia was seen leaving the area in a yellow 2014 Kia Soul with Utah plate number.
Kia Soul, but you're not too far off with the soy.
Utah license plate, and they gave the number. Mia's current whereabouts are unknown and is considered armed and dangerous. Washington City Police Department requests citizens do not approach Mia or the vehicle if located, and we ask that you contact your local 911 authority or the Washington City Police Department at the so-called number with that information. Currently, there are no threats to the general public. However, it is believed Mia could still be in Washington County area. The Washington City Police Department sends our heartfelt condolences to the victim's family in this horrific tragedy. We also want to thank all of those who assisted with this incident, which is the County Sheriff's Office, St. George City Police Department, Utah Highway Patrol, Washington County Attorney's Office, and local citizens on the scene. The case is still under investigation. No further information will be released at this time. Signed by the Lieutenant Corey Klotz. the Washington City Police Department. You know, and the real shame of it all is, you know, they actually had a shelter in place that had been issued in Washington City in the Bloomington Hills and Fort Pierce areas in Washington City, Utah, and schools were ordered to stay indoors and exercise extreme caution, of course. You know, but the fact that the police and the media refer to him as a woman and use she, her pronouns are, you know, what does that tell us about our police when you're feeding into this mental illness? You know, by giving them the platform in which you're coming out and you're making statements representative of your department and using this, you know, using this, the they, them, or they, she, her, and everything else. And the fact of the matter is that we should not be feeding into a mental illness. And that's exactly what the police department is doing. You know, and then and he's going to try and get sentenced to go into a woman's prison.
So this was back in March of 2023. Benny Johnson said the Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary, Denver shooter identified as trans, Aberdeen shooter identified as trans, Nashville shooter identified as trans. One thing is very clear: the modern trans movement is radicalizing activists into terrorists. So, you know, this goes back to, by the way, the fact that, you know, these mass shootings that we've been looking at and trying to track and trying to find solutions to, there has been a projection into and onto the actual weapons used in the murders. So it doesn't matter that it's, you know, whether a knife, which happens in London a lot because you don't have many guns, or guns here in the U.S. because, you know, why use a knife when you can use a gun is probably the way they're thinking, because they're thinking of, you know, how many people can I damage or hurt or kill. And so, but what was happening was the too cute. Oh my goodness.
He fogged up my glasses. Can't see a dang thing right now.
And so, but the thing about that was we're not looking, the focus was on the guns themselves. That's the way the media is looking at it. That's the way the politicians are looking at it, because they use the deaths of innocent people as a vehicle or as a weapon against the Second Amendment. And this is not by accident. So one of the things that I've been bringing to light for 18 years that I've been in this fight, certainly for the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, very, you know, strong proponent of all those, which can be taken away by our police. And so but what we haven't really focused on is the mental illness, because if there's one thing that all of these mass shootings have in common, is that they are from mentally ill people, and also the people that are taking the drugs for mental illness, whether it be the, you know, Prozacs or the Zolofts or what have you.
Lithium and everything else.
Yeah. And these are all used in mind control as well. Back in the day, we've covered this with the MK Ultra stuff. They used LSD and the mind control then, but they don't need LSD nowadays because the pharmaceutical industry is providing the drugs that are necessary for the brainwashing and for the radicalization of these people. They're taking these drugs already, so it's easier to imprint into their mind or onto their psyche what they need them to do for them. And that is why you're seeing a great deal of of people with this mental illness disguised as gender fluidity, um, taking these kind of things on and doing this kind of damage that they're doing to innocent human beings.
Well, I mean,
Um,
Dave, do we have to send our weapons out to be tested for mental illness? I mean, because they constantly blame the weapon instead of blaming the real weapon.
the real weapon is the
Yeah,
is the mind.
behind it. Yeah.
And right, and that's what is being completely sidestepped by focusing on the assault weapon or the handgun, or it's just absolutely it's absolutely tragic. And um, and and by the way, Tracy says 4 years antidepressant free. Tracy, that is awesome. Good to see you in the chat, my friend. And the great thing about that is there's so many. I've been dealing with depression over the past couple of years. I've just had a lot of stuff going on in my life, and what's been really really valuable for me is HTP 5, which is basically tryptophan, kind of like if you had turkey. It's the tryptophan that kind of makes you tired. Um, Ashwagandha has been really, really helpful. And the most recent, which has been extremely helpful, is Boswellia, Boswelia. I recommend those for anybody who's having issues with depression, because what we sometimes fail to realize is that the depression state that we get into is often due to a chemical imbalance in our bodies, or events that occur that kind of drive that. I'm not an expert in this by any stretch of the imagination, but when I find something that I think is valuable, I want to share it, especially when it's you could go and take Boswellia for the next 2 weeks and it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's an herb, it's a plant, it's like cannabis. It ain't going to hurt you. See if it helps you. And boy, that didn't take long. You were just looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
You were looking.
Well, you know that the only recorded death from marijuana was that farmer down in New Mexico that had a bale of cannabis fall on his head from a plane.
God bless him. And what
Okay.
a way to go. Wow. I'm guessing it was up high.
Well, it was high enough that it was high enough that he didn't know it was coming, but he was working out in his field, and the plane was going through and dropping them, and he just happened to be in the way, and it landed on his head, and he died from it. And that was the only recorded death due to cannabis that was not altered with something else. So you've got people who are putting fentanyl on cannabis now. You got people who are soaking it in formaldehyde, basically creating the old school 1960s, 1970s PCP is basically what they're doing. Along with all of the pesticides and miticides that they're using. that also cause that problem. And having worked in the cannabis industry for as long as I have, you know, one of my biggest things was making sure that the product that was going to the patient was the cleanest product out there, that even the dispensaries could not compete with me in regards to it. And we were successful in watching the healing of many, many people. Other people were dealing with situations that were long-term problems. Arthritis, it's not something that goes away in a couple of days, of using cannabis. It takes, long periods of time of using either a salve or an RSO, which is an ingestible, in order to defeat that. But we don't tout the healing as I healed somebody. No, I didn't heal anybody. The plant did its job.
Well, so there's so back to the mental illness that we have sidestepped and not looked at in looking at these all these mass shootings. The reason why that they're not doing that is severalfold, but primarily it's the mainstream media, which is bought and owned by. Maybe give a mute, but brother, when just when you're off, just to give us a little bit of a respite from the dogs. I don't know how Hawk does it, man. That's we were on a conversation earlier, boy, and the yap yapper is something, and it's difficult when you don't have the cuddle factor that would make up for all that yapping. But at any rate, the factor that the factors that drive this lack of transparency with the mental illness factor, with these events that are taking place, like the shooting in Utah, is that primarily the first line of defense is the pharmaceutical companies that fund these corporate mouthpieces are making sure that that conversation is not being had, because that would make them culpable and possibly liable in these situations. And so when you see this person who is obviously has some mental illness now, no matter how you look at it, there's mental illness at play here, whether or not it's medicated as a result of the mental illness, or the medication itself drives the mental illness. You're not going to hear that from the mainstream media, because they control, the pharmaceutical companies control mainstream media up to 75% of their revenue, their ad revenue. So, but beyond that, the next step of that, and that's why you had the disinformation that we had in the mainstream media going back through CV-19. But what you're also what's important to point out is that the same people that own the pharmaceutical companies own the media. On that next level, that next tier of financing, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street Capital, all three of those companies own much of the media, and even some of the alternative media, which is why you see such an absolute censorship happening for people like us that have been trying to warn the population about this. So those are the first two tiers of it. And of course, the next tier is the fact that the brainwashing the modern day MK Ultra, let's call it MK Ultra 2024. Back when they started, they used LSD as well as neurolinguistic programming, which is is basically um, uh, I'm completely blanking on um,
We affectionately call that a brain fart, Dave.
yeah,
So
thank you. Except nothing's coming out. It's it's the hypnosis. That's what I'm looking for. Is the neurolinguistic programming is being used as hypnosis. I've studied that this intensively. Met with Walter Boart, who was the first to deprogram an MK Ultra victim, and I've told that story many times. He was the first private person. He wrote the book Operation Mind Control in 1976, I believe, is when he wrote that. And they buried that book, by the way. If you can get your hands on Operation Mind Control, do yourself a favor. But they don't need LSD anymore. Back in the 60s, the reason why they were putting that out in the 70s into all the universities is because they were training MK Ultra victims, and they were trying to find out who they could get in the university system. And so, but they don't need that anymore because of the prescription drugs from the pharmaceutical industry. So if they start to look into this really deeply, then what they're going to find is that many of these shootings are due to the mind control of the people that are doing it, and they couldn't do that without the pharmaceutical industry. And that's why you're seeing all these shootings, because they're trying to take your Second Amendment away. Any more thoughts on that, Hawk, before I jump to the next one?
I got some background noise going on right now.
Okay, I'll take care of it. I'm gonna go to the rape trees.
So let's talk about the kids. There's a lot of patriots on this app and a lot of people all around, no matter what side of the aisle that you sit on, that actually care about children and what happens to them, not only in this country, but in nations that have been war-torn from our country and others. We all recently saw where the Vatican said that they were going to be taking in children from Gaza. As much as we know about war and how much money it makes, there's definitely something else that makes a lot of money. We see migration happening in this nation, and a lot of people are upset about the fact that some of these papers are thrown away. Their documentation is simply tossed to the side. But while the news is focusing on the males that are coming across the border, what happened to those trees? Remember the ones that had all the little girls' undergarments in them, and all the women that came across the border as well? Notice how that just kind of phased out, and the people that were actually boots on the ground that went to interview did see women and children. Is it possible that these children without documentation can be moved around from nation to nation without anybody knowing? And who do you think is the most involved in doing that? Is it other countries, or could it possibly be us? Sometimes when people think they're seeing the absolute worst come through the news, the things that are actually going on in this nation are far worse than what's going to be pushed out on the TV. When it comes to defending the innocent children, that means all children. And something needs to be done about what's happening, not only in this nation, but those around the world. And it's not going to be until the people really, truly realize how bad this is before we can call it out and put a stop to it. We're tired of paying our tax money to fund useless wars that put children at risk more than anybody else. And when you actually think about where those children are going, you might realize that your tax money is involved in something way worse than war.
This was a topic that, I said to you, Dave, I says, we've been talking about child trafficking since very first podcast, both on your platform and on my platform. Having gone through the things that I went through as a child. It seems that the mainstream people are now beginning to get those numbers and are beginning to ask questions. And this is this is the part where, generally I tell my viewers, okay, guys, we've been talking about this for years, but we have to be able to answer questions for those that come, that are just finding out about this. And folks, the more information that you can muster, okay, and put together, even if you put together just a couple of pages of key points, bullet points, whatever you want to call them, and have that information available so that when they come and they have a conversation with you guys, that you can be informative. Okay, it's one thing to be irritated with people who are not as awake as we are. Okay, and I totally understand people's animosity about dealing with people who are just now waking up. They're so far behind us and everything else. Well, you want to know what? If we provide them as much information as we can muster, then guess what? They're going to catch up. And guess what they're going to be able to do? They're going to be able to answer questions for other people. So this is, what is going to bring everybody together? The children is what is going to bring everybody together. Because where it comes to the kids, we all know. We all know. And I'll shut up now.
Well, that's what Q said, that crimes against children will unite all of humanity, cross party lines, and that's something that I know that they've done a great job of. Well, I don't know, but we've been told that they shut down Saudi Arabia when at the purge, and
Yep.
that they have quite restricted it. Certainly Trump restricted it significantly at the border when he put the walls up.
So
And,
Saudi Arabia
and
was the bloody wonderland. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Now, the next question is, where is the winter wonderland that Q talked about? Because we know that the wonderland always seems to end up being about children.
But anyway, I don't know of any winter wonderland in Q. But in terms of the child trafficking, we believe that much of that has already been done, and we hope that much of it's been done, because Q did tell us 20% we see, 80% we don't. So hopefully that is something that we're not seeing, but is actually happening. You've heard about all this speculation about, about how this person's at Guantanamo, or this person's been taken to Guantanamo, et cetera, et cetera. And yet none of that can be corroborated for certain, other than the fact that we know that many of the people that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis are not the people that we're being told they are. And the most critical in that whole situation is Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., who we know was not inaugurated live on the steps of the Capitol on January 20th, 2021, and we have multiple proofs of that. I believe the most significant one is the one that I proved, that shows Hunter on one side and then a pan down to the other side, and he's on the other side of the stage. I've shown that many times. But so if we know that to be true, that did not happen at the time it did, and even if it did happen on that day, it happened too soon. It happened while Trump was still president, so it's null and void. that we need to understand that if that's not him, then why, you know, what is happening?
Yeah.
And if
you're correct, it wasn't the winter wonderland, it was a water wonderland, the underwater wonderland, and it was post 3497.
oh,
And you'll
this
see
is
where
the
you'll see where a big connection is between Disney and Little St. James Island.
yeah.
And whose island is right next door to Epstein's?
The
Biden's.
Bidens. This is Captain Nautica's snorkeling expedition, Little St. James Island. And then and how it's tied to the Disney Cruise Line. The underwater formations that they're talking about. Yeah. Does this say underwater wonderland, or is it?
Yeah, if you do a search for Wonderland, it comes up. It's about not even a quarter of a way into that post where it comes up. It says ages 8 and up, be whisked away aboard the captain's RIB powerboat to a pair of sun-soaked snorkeling sites and prepare for an adventure like no other. Journey to the picturesque Turtle Cove, Buck Island, and immerse yourself in an underwater wonderland.
Yeah.
Where you're invited to swim and snorkel. And the thing is that we have no idea what's underneath Epstein Island.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the next question is Terramar. Is Terramar this place that Ghislaine Maxwell was
she basically owned and was
holder. Yeah,
passing out passports. And it's obvious these doors go underground.
Yep.
On
Absolutely.
both of these.
Yep.
And we've also heard about the underground underwater ports. That is a way to get them in and out.
Yep, the submarines.
Yeah.
Which Maxwell was a submarine boat captain.
Exactly. And we also we obviously know the absolute deranged.
Oh, Dave, you just removed yourself.
There I am. I need to let.
This time he's not muting his mic; he's just muting himself. It's.
Hey, give me a sec, and I'll be right back.
All right. Again, he's muting himself. Funny how that works. Pamela, I did see a video on that A13 or A11.3, whatever it's, and the thing is it's in everything. It's in Toy Story. It's in almost all of the puppeteer type Disney productions, cartoons, and stuff like that. So it is definitely something that's going to be connectable. I just personally do not know a whole lot about it yet. I've just began seeing clips on this. As a matter of fact, I saw one today. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. And the lady was like totally shocked about where and how many. Hey, no. You guys don't get to do that. Give me a second, guys. I'll be back with you in a second. Let me put this outside. guys aren't tearing things up. Nope. So many dog food bags that I just use them as trash bags. Just pretty much just as big, right? But this woman, the way that she was reacting to that number coming up was just really, really surprising to me at first. And then I began to see what she saw. And when I saw that, then I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's something to this. And it would definitely have to be something that we would have to look into. Now, is there a numeric value put on adrenochrome that I don't know about? That could be very interesting if that is the case, to kind of lock things together and maybe find some answers. I just have to do some digging on it. I'm going to share this with you guys while Dave is away. And yesterday in my podcast, I talked about us not being of the world. We just happen to live in the world right now. We're not of the world. And this little kid has got a perspective that is really, really cool. Here we go.
He was like,
okay, now something happened, girl. Her name is Annie, has a vision of the end of the world. Jesus on a horse, stars falling, tsunamis, world. Okay, here we go.
Jesus, he told me, he was like, Annie. What? Who was that? I said, it's me, Jesus. And I'm like, whoa, is that Jesus? And he said, yes. And then he holded a book after. He had a white dress, long hair like girl, but some boys have long hair as well, like girls. And he had curly, and it was brown, and eyes was blue, I think. And he was wearing a crown, and he was riding a horse, middle of the heavens. And the stars will fall down, and it's going to cry boom, boom, and there's going to be tsunamis, and that's real, and it's going to be aliens dying, and everything will be gone, like the phone, this product, this, and the pillows, everything's going to be gone, and the house will be gone. Look, everything will be gone.
Yeah.
Everything will be gone in the name of Jesus. And that's all of, for a very long time, my brother and sister, they're in heaven. The babies are waiting in heaven. And the brothers and sisters are waiting there. This is not our home. This is not our home.
Why do you...
No, it's just our pretend home. And in heaven, that's our real home. And it might happen again if some people or children believe in God, they go to the new world. And if they don't believe in God, they go to the old world. And
What is the old world?
Like when they were like tsunamis and stars, and they'll still carry on forever because they're bad. And Jesus can they can see their memories. The book, he said.
What was the book? Oh, okay.
Put your names in there.
Is that the book of life?
Yeah.
Could be the book of life, yeah?
It says book of life. And you put everything, you write everything on it, and then and if Jesus says something bad, and it said swear words and that,
Or is that like sin book?
Yeah, and they go to death. If they do nice things or clean up, like me, I clean up. They like be nice to them. They go to the new world. The angels will lift you up and go to the new world. They go to I tell you where's the heaven?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's like up in the sky, in space, really high in space, and then the angel will carry on really fast. They're really fast. Dust, look.
Okay.
See, dust. And that's all of that. Shall I pray for you?
Yes, pray. Yes, why not?
Dear God, protect Daddy and Mummy and everyone on this world so they can't die. Please say to them that it's going to be the end of the world and believe him and tell everyone on this 100,000 people that it will happen and you're not joking. And that's the name of Jesus and everything will be gone. Like our hamster and everyone in the name of Jesus. And that's all. Amen.
So we have to constantly remind ourselves that we are not of the world. We just happen to be in it right now. So when things get so tough and everything else, understand that our understanding is nothing compared to our Creator's understanding. We know nothing compared to what he knows. And I'm telling you, if we just sometimes the voice, the still voice of a child can do so much good in getting an understanding of, I mean, to have that kind of a vision, and be able to explain it at her age, and to deliver his message. I mean, the girl did her job. Her job was to tell the world what she saw, and a child shall lead the way. Karen Reese, you are spot on. You are spot on. We are not of the world. We just happen to be in it. We are of something a lot greater. We just happen to be here for this time to reveal the evil and to do everything that we can to expose it so that it can be removed from our presence. With that, I'll shut up. So where are we going next, Dave?
Well, we've got the 5G towers opening up a champagne bottle. I'm sorry, not the towers, but the phones, not necessarily.
Right now, did you see did they put a thing underneath that? They put a community note underneath that.
No, I haven't seen it. What was community notes?
They put a community note on it that says, let's see here.
There's a capsule that explodes. Well, let's go to this woman here about the farming. It's more important anyway. We know the cell towers are bad for us. That's a given. And the cell phones as well. Here we go.
I hope you blow this shit up and listen, because I've told you again and again, this administration's agenda is to control the food and control the people. Biden wants to push OSHA into an extreme heat index for outside workers. You guys want to know what he thinks is hot? 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me tell you, here in Tennessee, it gets humid. And I push past because guess what? My girls still got to get fed, and that's my priority. And I chose this life in agriculture to feed you and your families. And they are trying to put fear in our lives. They're trying to kill off the American farmer. I know. We moved from California because regulations were getting so bad, and they were providing water to Los Angeles and San Francisco instead of the Central Valley. And they're doing it across America, trying to regulate our land, take our water rights. It is happening. It is time to wake up and start supporting your local farmers and buy local. I hope you blow this shit up and listen.
And she's got a good right to say that. You know, I mean, this girl is a girl who's running. You know, they run a big dairy. You know, so they're milk producers. You know, we've got the Lamb family from Lightning Springs Ranch, who are dealing with their issues out there. You know, they're being forced to tag tag and let the government track all their cattle, you know, and such. So this is, you know, she's making good solid points, you know, because of the fact that you know, these are people who, you know, who have been in this industry for years, and their objective was never to get rich, but to provide for their fellow man. You know, you want to talk about being in service of your fellow man your entire life, then grow up on a farm. Okay, grow up on a farm. You know, I mean, there is no greater service than that. Feeding thousands and thousands of people. You know, sure, you get paid to do the work. Okay, but I mean, you basically have to mortgage your property every year in order to get the seed to plant to grow. And all these people who are having their water cut off, okay, with the water goes to the crops that they mortgage their farms and ranches on. It seems to me that it's more than just a shortcut into the food supply, but maybe a land grab as well. What do you think, Dave? You're muted. You're muted, Dave.
Sorry. They already have the land grab happening with what we've seen with the China buying up so much land, with Gates buying up so much land, with the demonization of meat and trying to replace it with you know, plant matter in the shape of, you know, beef. And you know, it's just it's a war on our if you control the food supply, you control humanity, period. Because even those who control the money supply, the bankers, if we run out of money or we don't have money, we can still barter. I can still mow your lawn for a dozen eggs. You know, I can still, you know, change your oil in your car, you know, for a couple steaks, you know, that kind of thing. You can still barter. But if you control the food supply, which they've already, you know, 95% of the food in a supermarket is not even, is poison. And so they've already got control of the food supply. And by the way, I've dropped the Donovan Lamb, the Lightning Springs Ranch, this link down below, folks. If you want to check that out, it's a family owned farm in southern Utah, and just outside Vernal, and we've shared this link because they have all grass fed beef. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic beef. Both Hawk and I have have partaken in this. We've had some giveaways for this. So, and this is the family. This is the family and the people who work, you know, and this is amazing stuff. So please check it out, folks. And
just to make a point
support.
on that, just to make a point on that, Dave,
Yeah.
we don't get anything for promoting them. Okay. Instead of taking the offers either for the host or whoever's talking about them and everything else, getting a bonus for it or anything else. No, what we do is we get a giveaway a month. We'll be doing one in a couple of weeks here. We have a giveaway where they give away a whole health bundle, which is basically a month's supply of grass-fed beef. And one of you viewers is the one who benefits from that. So we don't get anything for it. However, you can save a little bit of money by using Hawk as the code. I think it takes a certain percentage off. I don't know how much it is, but you know,
Yeah.
You know, Donovan has made a few appearances on here talking about the beef industry, what ranchers are going through, and you know the problems that they're having, how the government's trying to insert themselves into their ranch and everything. And it really just boils down to you know, I can't trust the meat at the local grocery store. You know,
yeah. I mean,
it's
we're
coming
seeing
from
stuff pop up
Brazil,
all
or
the
it's
time.
coming from China, or it's coming from this place or that place. And the
Yeah.
thing is that I have no idea what they fed them. I know that Donovan Lamb and family use no antibiotics in their
Right.
meats, you know, for their meats. So I know that what I'm getting is a good, clean, healthy cut of beef. And it's, you know, and it's amazing. And the, you know, the bonuses go to you viewers. It doesn't go to us. It goes to you viewers. And that's the kind, if I'm going to get sponsors, that's the kind of sponsorship that I want. I want a sponsor that's going to be giving back to the community, not giving back to me.
Yeah. They've sent me a package. They've sent you a package of meat, you know, but we're not financially benefiting from it other than, you know, the package of meat that we got.
Yeah.
So I want to be very clear about that because, you know, hey folks, when you're talking about like, you know, who's grifting and who's not, look to the content, not to the fact that we might drop a sponsor or a donation link where you could support the work that we're doing. Don't get caught up in that because we're not going to be stepping back into communism. Okay. What we actually have to do is we need to step forward into capitalism for the people that are actually giving us good information that aren't part of some network that is obviously, giving you bad intel or pretending that they know more than they don't. Hawk and I don't do that. We don't pretend that we have intel that you got to tune in for our latest intel. No, we're going down through our X feed, or we're going through some Q drops, or we're going through some news unlocks the map. That's what we're doing. And because we've done no outside comms and we've focused on what's, you know, in the drops or what's in the news, we're able to, actually, be out ahead of a lot of things that happen. But nobody's trying to pretend like we have a secret source or inside intel or anything like that. And if you're watching somebody that's doing that, just run in the opposite direction and find somebody who's not doing that, who's not sensationalizing it, because what they're doing is they're using the exact same things that they've been using for a very long time in the mainstream media, and they're doing it for people in the alternative media, and so they're trapping you one way or another. So we'll share a sponsor. We'll share a link where you can help, where you can donate if you would like. Other than that, that's it. And you got it right down there. And if you like what you're hearing and you want more and you want to support this work that we're doing, please do so. If you can't afford it, do not do so. If you if that's just not something you do, then don't do it. But for those of you who do, thank you, because I've given away 1,100 shows for free. Hawk's done I don't know, how many shows have you done?
Not sure how many, but I was doing an average of one a day for 5 years straight. So it's quite a bit.
And the hours that we put in as well. So if that speaks to you, please support this podcast. And if it doesn't, don't. It's that simple. But we give it away for free. We don't have a paywall, and we believe that this information is too important to put behind a paywall. And so this is something that we are very adamant about, providing a safe space and a space of information for you all as we navigate this minefield that is the shit show that we're living through right now. So moving on to the Judge Joe Brown, I think we should hit.
Yeah, I thought that this was. This one was pretty interesting, and he talks about what Juneteenth is really about, and why he himself does not celebrate it. Excellent breakdown. Excellent breakdown.
Here we go.
Juneteenth was supposed to be June 19th, 1866. Now, what's wrong with that? No, they changed that in the last 4 or 5 years to try and cover up the embarrassment. You know what the embarrassment is? 1863, first part of the year, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, February 1863. All right. Next thing, the 13th Amendment freeing the slaves passed out of the House, got sent to the states, January 1865. All right. Okay. Next thing that happens, January 14th, 1865, General Sherman signs the order as commanding general of his military district, the Black Reparations Act order, which is 40 acres and a mule to all black families. All right. Next thing that happens, Lee gets his ass whooped and surrenders at Appomattox Courthouse, April 1865. May 1865, Sherman whips Johnson and gets his surrender. No more Confederate army. May 1865, he sends a cavalry detachment of black soldiers, cavalrymen, down to Texas to tell these damn fools that the war is over there free. They won't believe the black folk. May 1865. Not June 18th, but a whole year and a month later, June 19th, 1866, a Union frigate has docked in Galveston, Texas, and naval rank lieutenant, that's like a lieutenant major in the Army, or current lieutenant colonel, asked the stevedores why they are laboring under the lash. And he said, well, we still slaves. He said, fools, you've been free for 3 years from the Emancipation Proclamation. You've been free 2.5 years from the 13th Amendment. You've been free for a year and 2 months from Lee getting his ass whooped. You've been free a year and a month from Johnson getting finally his ass whooped and surrendering. And it's been a year and a month since your fellow some black soldiers told you were free. Now you got to have a white boy tell you free? That is so embarrassing. I will never celebrate Juneteenth. I said, you won't celebrate all the hell you want. Damn fools down there being slaves. Oh, I'm so happy.
Amazing the way he breaks that down, and this is the thing, one of the comments that should be recognized, because it is a correct narrative. Black people owned white slaves. Okay.
Mhm.
But hush hush on that doesn't seem to fit their narrative for division. Well, the thing is that in order to get people to recognize that they are in fact slaves takes a reveal. Okay. Now, we have known for the last 5-6 years, through researching and getting into into the slave, really seriously looking into the slave trade compared to anything that we could have found, when we were in high school, Dave. When we were in high school, we wouldn't have found all this information in regards to whites being slaves as well. We had heard of indentured servitude. The Europeans that were coming over here were being placed into indentured servitude. It's just another word for slave, but when we look at the financial system going on, that's gone on since 1913, we then begin to realize that for the last 115 years, everybody has been a slave.
Yep. Yeah. Debt slave, financial
taxation
slave.
without representation equates slavery.
Yeah. Hey, that orangutan you got back there, or chimpanzee, is quite hilarious.
He is, isn't he? It's the viewers actually like hearing the puppies, but let me tell you, yesterday I was about on my last nerve. 2 hours into it, I finally had to shut down because they but they're free today, so it's a lot less than what we were dealing with yesterday. Believe me, if you looked at yesterday's and listened, Dave, you'd be laughing right now. Yet even one of them making a peep, you'd be like, ha ha ha, here it comes.
So very very interesting how that we're seeing things that we, like you said, back in our day, we weren't able to find out this kind of information, but the internet has absolutely made a huge difference. Gene, thank you for your donation. Much appreciated.
Do you think that they regret giving us the internet yet?
Oh yeah. But that's why they also had to take control of it, because they were losing control of the narrative, and so they had to take control of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and and then alter and shift and change the information coming out of those places and censor those. And the Twitter files revealed that the FBI was dealing directly with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram on the messages being shared. That's why X is so important right now, because the amount of information that is getting out on X is unheard of. Also TikTok, which is why they had to ban it, has nothing to do with China. They don't care that our information is with China. They're the ones that sell it to China. This is they're the ones sleeping with Fang Fang. And Feinstein had a spy, a Chinese spy, for 20 years driving her around. The woman who is the connection between Loretta Lynch and Hillary Clinton that Q mentions, Amanda Ravina, she worked for Dianne Feinstein for many years. And so there's so many Amanda Renteria. She's the bridge between Loretta Lynch and HRC. Let me pull this up for you. Plus one, Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch tarmac. So she was the one that was there for that meeting. She was the witness to it all. And she's run for office too, by the way. Trusted by the Clintons, running for California governor. She ran for California governor. She's also running for Congress. Who is funding? Who is campaign manager? Risk is high. And I'll pull her up. And Renteria. This is her. And she is she wants to be a congressperson. I've got to close up some of my stuff. She is presently 49 in Woodlake, California, from Stanford and Harvard for her MBA. She's one of the she's got a Code for America, which is a charity, and to modernize the social safety net infrastructure. Speaking of connection to the internet, and she's a member of President Biden's Advisory Commission on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Hispanics, and serves on the Treasury Advisory Commission on Racial Equity. Do you think she's a part of the problem down at the border? She's also a paid contributor to the BBC and ABC News, Mockingbird Media, on policy and political matters in the U.S. She was a national political director for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. And her service as chief of operations for California Attorney General Xavier Becerra, who then went on to, Health and Human Services, I believe. First Latina chief of staff in the U.S. Senate, working for United States Senators Dianne Feinstein, who had a spy for a driver for 20 years. Go figure. So, Q brought that up. She is, it's very important. The Clintons are funding her because she was the bridge and the witness on that tarmac meeting between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. She would be the one that could tell us that they didn't talk about their grandkids in golf, that they actually talked about giving Loretta Lynch the Supreme Court nomination to replace, I believe it was to replace, I don't think it was RBG. I think it was to replace the gentleman who was murdered in Texas by Obama. And I'm totally another brain fart, by the way. Help me out, folks. Yeah, complete breakdown, mental breakdown right now. Here we go. Who do you guys got for me? Okay, let me get down.
Anthony Scalia? No, I don't think so.
Scalia.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. See Route 17. Now, I don't know the timing on it. Ann, thank you. You were the first one. Appreciate that, I think. And, but at any rate, so that was the tarmac meeting, and that was to get the FBI to stop and the DOJ to stop investigating Hillary Clinton's email scandal of 33,000 emails, which we're now also seeing are coming out, more and more. I had something on that earlier today. I'll try to see if I can find it, by the way. So yeah, thoughts on that, Hawk?
Give me a minute. I'm getting some beverages for the puppies.
No worries. So let me see if I have it in my thread today for today. I don't believe I do. There was folks who's thinking about the email. Something recently came out with that about the emails that were exposed, and part of it was the communique between Podesta and some of the folks involved. Let me see if I can find it in my bookmarks. Folks, you might have, go ahead and let me know if you have it out there. Let me see. Yeah, go ahead and chime in. Also, folks, if you have any questions, go ahead and toss them out there. John says, "Do you trust the Kushners? Do I trust Jared? I don't, but I also don't believe that he's in charge. So I trust him more because I don't think he's making decisions on his own, as many people."
Yeah, I think part of that question might have to do with the $2 billion that came from Saudi Arabia to Kushner after Trump left office. I covered it a few days ago. He got $2 billion investment from the Saudis after. Well, there was a quite a extended period after Trump left office, so. I think that's part of where that question came in.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Hawk?
Well, if he had gotten the $2 billion investment while Trump was in office, then it would be questionable to me. But it's, to me, it's not, so much. But John just dropped a link in regards to, are you ready to see Wonderland 666 Fifth Avenue and Cabal, Pizzagate, Pedogate, QAnon, Great Awakening? Link he just dropped over there in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't grab that text out of there.
Well, it's Neon Revolt. And Neon Revolt has been wrong on so many occasions. I don't find them credible at all. And I go back a long way with Neon Revolt. Yeah. And so let me get back to that. Excuse me. Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to answer Dee Dee's question here real quick. She says, has anybody else heard all the chatter about the Mark of the Beast and they're coming to get us? The last couple of days, I've seen horrible videos on TikTok of people describing this in detail. Well, first off, let me tell you this. In the Bible, it does not say that the mark is on your hand or on your forehead. It actually says in your hand and in your forehead, not on. So if they're talking about a hand mark or a forehead mark, if it's not in the head or in the hand, then they don't know what they're talking about. And that comes from the Ethiopian Bible of the early 1500s.
Interesting. So, where we once thought, by the way, I always believed that the chip was a diversion, a distraction. And I later was found out to be right, because they don't need a chip. They don't need a chip that you can take out of the body, or you can, cover with foil right here. And so it can't be read by anything, or put on a glove or a wristband that blocks, anything from being able to access it. The graphene oxide is the thing that is in the bodies of all that have been jabbed that you can't get rid of.
Yep.
Because
And
it's
Elaine
in
just
the
said,
ovaries.
Elaine just said to confirm what you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we covered this on the indoctrination. The 060606 was the patent number of Gates, the hydrogel.
Yep.
That was put into the jabs.
Yeah. And Gina, the King James version was rewritten from Greek when King James was alive. And I would go back a lot farther than the King James Bible. Okay. Do I trust the King James Bible? Absolutely not. And I will tell you that as somebody who's actually clergy. I will not use a King James Bible ever in my ministry, ever. And I don't generally promote my ministry on here, but I do weddings and stuff like that. So, yeah, I will never, ever use a King James Bible. It's been altered, and it is basically what the Vatican wanted you to know and nothing else. The Ethiopian Bible, the Geneva Bible, those all included the books of Enoch and many others that have been removed by King James because of the fact that he wanted the ability to marry and divorce as often as he wanted as the reigning crown or royal in that time period.
The difference between humans and animals would never allow the dumbest of the herd to lead them. It has become quite obvious that we are being led by the dumbest of the herd. And to take that a step further, when you think of the bloodlines and how these families are staying in power and how they're keeping it in the bloodlines. These are, at best, these are little boys on the porch playing the banjo in Deliverance. They are inbred. They are, their IQs have been lowered through all the inbreeding. Hawk, you breed dogs.
Yep.
Can you breed the same bloodline over and over and over again?
No, you cannot. No,
What
you
happens?
cannot. They'll start having demaculate generation, which basically a breakdown of the hips, the back, bone structure, muscle structure, and it also creates a very high mental illness in the dog as well. No different than inbreeding in humans.
And that's what we're being led by. That's a fact. So we're actually being led by the least mentally capable, least physically capable in all of the land.
And that's a shame. It really is.
Yeah.
Because I think about where this world would be today if Tesla was able to do what he wanted to do with giving free energy to the world. You know,
Yeah.
It wasn't just the United States. He wanted to give free energy to the world. But guess what? There are meters in every country because of those who opposed him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I was just reading this morning, and I think that I posted it. I post so much, I need to make sure that I did. But it was Gaddafi. The reason why they took out Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi is because they had he was going off the dollar. He was going to a gold-backed currency, so he wasn't going to be controlled by the bankers.
And he gave free water.
What's that?
He gave free water.
He gave free electricity
and water. Water was the most needed thing. And he built a system where people were getting water, and all the villages had water, and they got it for free.
Yeah. And the I had it in my feed, and I'm just trying to find it. But he also, if you were getting married, you would get the equivalent about, I believe, about $60,000 in a new home.
So yeah, to start your life together. Yep.
This is what I was looking for. Okay. I'm so glad that I found this. Okay, because I wanted to share it with you all. Okay, so remember I was talking about Hillary's emails. The leaked Hillary Clinton emails revealed that NATO killed Gaddafi to stop the formation of a United States of Africa. You can look this up by Gaddafi Files Part 1. Of the 3,000 emails released from Hillary Clinton's private email server in late December 2015, about a third were from her close confidant, Sidney Blumenthal. One of these emails, dated April 2nd, 2011, read in part, Gaddafi's government holds more than 143 tons of gold and a similar amount in silver. This gold was accumulated prior to the current rebellion and was intended to be used to establish a pan-African currency based on the Libyan golden dinar. The plan was designed to provide the francophone of African countries with an alternative to the French franc. CFA, in a source comment, the original declassified email added, according to knowledgeable individuals, this quantity of gold and silver is valued at more than $7 billion. French intelligence officers discovered this plan shortly after the current rebellion began, and this was one of the factors that influenced President Nicolas Sarkozy's decision to commit France to the attack on Libya. According to these individuals, Sarkozy's plans were driven by the following issues: a desire to gain a greater share of Libya oil production, increase French influence in North Africa, improve his internal political situation in France, provide the French military with an opportunity to reassert its position in the world, address the concern of his advisors over Gaddafi's long-term plans to supplant France as a dominant power in Francophone Africa. Conspicuously absent is any mention of humanitarian concerns. The objectives were to get rid of the unification of Africa, money, power, and oil. By the way, I did not know this. Gaddafi and Obama were best friends, but since Obama was now on the West Side making the matters worse as the president of the U.S., the West broke their friendship. This is what Gaddafi said about Obama, his friend wanting him dead. Obama wants to kill me, to take away the freedom of our country, to take away our free housing, our free medicine, our free education, our free food, and replace it with American-style thievery called capitalism. But all of us in the third world know what that means. It means corporations run the countries, run the world, and the people suffer. Muammar Gaddafi. After the death of Gaddafi, Barack Obama said the biggest mistake of his presidency was the lack of planning for the aftermath of Muammar Gaddafi's ouster in Libya that left the country spiraling into chaos and coming under the threat from violent extremists. The mainstream media will never tell you this. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. That was a quote by Malcolm X. And that is power because they control the minds of the masses. And that's from African Hub, my friends. which is a good follow. Yeah. And this was, Hillary spoke of Gaddafi um, very nastily when she said, we came, we saw, we killed, when they were
Yeah.
talking about
He was
when
a
she was being
ruthless dictator.
ruthless.
Yep, that's what she said. He was a
Projection.
ruthless dictator. Yeah,
Yeah.
a ruthless dictator who provided every married couple a home and a stipend to begin living their lives. Okay. Provided free water, free medicine, free education. Yeah, this guy is the kind of dictator that I would want, to build the country up. It's one thing to get a handout, but it's another to get a hand up. A hand up is something that always gets passed on, because once you're stable, you want to help somebody else become stable. You want to help somebody else stand up and begin the process. And a hand out is just something you get. When it's gone, it's gone.
Yep. Real reasons why Gaddafi was killed. Libya had no electricity bills. Electricity came free of charge to all citizens, which is what you were talking about with Tesla earlier, what he wanted. There were no interest rates on loans. The banks were state-owned. The loan of citizens by law, 0%. Think about that. Think about the significance of just those two things right there. Gaddafi promised not to buy a house for his parents until everyone in Libya owns a home. All newlywed couples in Libya received 60,000 dinars from the government, and because of that, they bought their own apartments and started their families. So they could buy right off the bat. Meanwhile, people getting married in the United States, it's like, well, how much have you how much debt are you in? I've got 60,000 in school loans. I've got 120,000 in school loans, and I've got another 30,000 in credit card that they gave me, that I got when I was a freshman in college, and I got a car loan, and I've got this and I've got that. Education and medical treatment in Libya are free. Before Gaddafi, there were only 25% readers, meaning literate, and 83% during his reign. If Libyans wanted to live on a farm, they received free household appliances, seeds, and livestock. You were just talking about that. Farmers, talk about an incentive to go farm. If they cannot receive treatment in Libya, the state would fund them $2,300 plus accommodation and travel for treatment abroad. If you bought a car, the government finances 50% of the price. And remember, 0% interest loan. The price of gasoline became 14 cents per liter. Libya had no external debt, and reserves were $150 billion, which is now frozen worldwide. Since some Libyans can't find jobs after school, the government will pay the average salary when they can't find a job. Part of oil sales in Libya are directly linked to the bank accounts of all citizens. They're getting paid by the oil that is underneath them. The mother who gave birth to the child will receive $5,000. I'm guessing that's in dinar. 40 loaves of bread cost 15 cents. Gaddafi has implemented the world's biggest irrigation project, known as the Big Man Project, to ensure water availability in the desert. Again, that's from Africa Hub. I'd say that's somebody, talk about a benevolent dictator, right?
Yep. And it's like, and this is the thing is, the first thing that he did when he took over there was removed all taxes. That was the first thing that he accomplished going into power, was the elimination of all taxes. And then everything else fell into place. And I have a feeling that we could be seeing that same type of format happen here. You know, you want to be a farmer? Okay, let's get you some land. Let's get you some seeds. Let's get you some livestock. You use the poop from the livestock to fertilize the soil in which you're going to grow the seeds. You know, you feed what you grow to those same animals, and you know, you get a reciprocal relationship going on there. And then you have your foods that you're growing separately, but also using the same poop from the livestock in order to fertilize that soil and produce everything that's necessary in order to sustain the food health of everybody working on your farm and your neighbors.
He also said that Israel killed John F. Kennedy Jr. and suggested the UN should look into that.
Yep.
Yeah, he had to be put down, unfortunately, and it's tragic.
Immediately after saying that.
Yeah. I think it was
the straw that broke the camel's back, literally.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how we got off on that tangent there, but that was a good one.
Yeah. Excuse me for a minute. I need to go
Sure.
choke on an orangutan. No, I'll be back.
Here we go. I hope you all are doing well. We've got 1,000 on X and YouTube, and we have another about 400 on Rumble. So thanks for joining us. I normally don't come on this early, and so I'm glad you folks are making an exception, because normally it's a little bit later. Yes, thank you. Great tangent. Thank you. I think what is coming is going to be amazing worldwide. You know,
and you know, that's the thing, because right now, with a lot of our viewers, okay, you're seeing all of this information and everything, and it's really hard to have in mind what good can come out of all of this. Well, that's where faith comes in. You know, you know, I'm going to give a biblical story here. Jervis was a synagogue administrator. And when he went to Jesus and told him that his daughter was sick.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna take a quick break while you tell that story.
Yep, get the puppy out to go to the bathroom in the process. Kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
You know, so Jervis, you know, his daughter got sick, and he had Rabbi Yosef, who ended up being the Yosef that provided the tomb that Jesus was laid to rest in. Okay. Later on in his story. Okay. You know, but Jervis went to Christ and said to him that he knows that he could heal his daughter. Now, by the time that Jesus got back to Jervis's house, the child had already passed. Okay. And Jesus said to the servants and those people that were mourners, stop mourning. The child is just sleeping. Okay. And everybody was laughing at him, saying, you're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. What kind of rabbi are you? You know, we know that she's dead. Well, Jesus goes in and the girl gets up, hugs Jesus and comes out with Jesus. And Jesus, first thing he says is, feed her. She's hungry, you know? Okay. That was the first raising of the dead. Okay. Now, the second one was when Lazarus died. Okay. When Lazarus died, He died of a severe kidney and intestinal infection, and that's what killed him. Now, Christ already knew that he had this illness. Okay. He didn't heal him. Okay. The sisters sent a letter to Jesus saying that Lazarus is sick and he's dying. Please come. Well, Jesus waited 4 days. Okay. So Jesus could have showed up and healed him, but that would have only been a minor miracle. Okay. When he went to the city and Mary came out to meet him, he said, "Where's your sister?" And her sister is grieving. Okay. And Mary and Martha were the two sisters of Lazarus. Okay. And at that time, Jesus's mom was staying with them. Mary, Joseph's wife, was living with Lazarus because Jesus, the last time Lazarus and Jesus saw each other, Jesus had gone into the synagogue there in Nazareth and made his proclamation. Okay. And they wanted to stone him to death. They wanted to throw him off the cliff. Okay. So Mary went to stay with Lazarus while things cooled down in Nazareth. But at this point here, Jesus knows that his time is getting short. Okay. So he asks Mary where her sister is and says, "Go get your sister and then take me to the grave." And he took him to the grave and he said, "Now roll away the stone." "Oh, but Lord, he's been dead for 4 days. There's going to be a smell." They rolled the stone away, and yeah, there was a smell. And Jesus raised his hand and he prayed to our Creator, okay, for Lazarus, and then said, "Lazarus, come forth." And Lazarus walked out. Okay. Now, Mary knew that he could do this, and I'm not talking about his mom. I'm talking about Lazarus' sister. Knows that it was possible, believed. Then the next thing that happened was a Roman centurion came to him and called him Lord, said, "My servant is a child. He's also my son from having relations with a servant outside of my wife's, relationship and I." Okay. And he's sick and he's dying. And I know that you can heal him with a single word. I don't need you to come to my home because you wouldn't be comfortable in a Roman's house. Okay. And he said that, that I, I am a man of authority myself. When I say to a man, go, he goes. When I say to a man, come, he comes. And I know that if you just say the word, that he'll be healed. Okay. Hours later, under the witness of Barabbas, the friends of this centurion came running out and saying, "Your child is healed. Your child is healed. Your child is healed." And it was, and Christ had turned to his followers and says, "I have not heard anyone that we have ever spoken to with as much faith as this Gentile who is of another religion that believes that I can do this." So our faith is so important in this time. Okay. Strengthening our faith in our relationship is more important than everything that is going on, including the election and Trump and everything else. Our relationship with our Creator is first and foremost. And if we can maintain and build a stronger relationship, then the things that we believe and have faith that are possible will in fact become possible. Our faith is what makes things happen. It's like we hear that if you dwell on a problem long enough, the manifestation of that problem is going to become a reality. Right? So let's start manifesting all the good shit, all the good stuff, all the things that are beneficial, not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to start seeing those changes. Color me crazy if you want. But I believe that we have the ability to produce negative energy around us, and we have the ability to produce positive energy around us. How we do it is totally up to us. Each of us individually. Okay, I'm looking at a number of 1,089. I don't see the number that's on Rumble. Okay, but 1,089 of you heard me say this, that your belief is stronger than anything, a tank, a government, a world. Your faith is stronger than that. Why do I call my channel Mustard Seeds? Because with the faith of a mustard seed, we can say to a mountain, move, and it will move. Now, that's not saying it to be in a literal sense of a mountain getting up and walking and getting out of your way. But the obstacles that are in our lives every day are the mountains that we climb every single day. Let's put some positivity in it. Let's change the world. And the only place that we can start is right here, right now, in this moment. I believe. And to those that are atheist or non-believing individuals, this is what I'll say to you. I would rather believe and have faith and be wrong than not believe and be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Start with the man in the mirror. You know, it is really that simple. And this, you guys, those are my toes. They're not chew toys. Those are my Those are my toes. And those are my boxers. Give me those back. Give me those. You go tell your children to stay out of my stuff. You go tell them right now. You're the mama. You go do that. I'm trying to do things here. And you... Okay. Sylvester, I'm not sure. Asking if chat is not showing up on X. I'm not really sure. I know if you click on the lower part of where the broadcast is on your page, it actually takes you to the area where there's a chat. I'm really, honestly, I'm just really learning X in comparison to Dave and these other guys. I follow people and stuff like that, but I have, I don't really have any knowledge as to how their platforms work. I'm just glad that we're able to broadcast to there. So I know we're broadcasting to both my X and Dave's X. There's 60 on mine and 762. Wow. 762 on his. So Yeah, and it's, and I'm not trying to like shame anybody into believing or anything like that. Okay, I'm not trying to do that. All I'm trying to do is get you guys to understand, that we manifest so much of the horror in our lives, and the things that give us so many problems, the pain that we suffer sometimes can be manifested because we believe we're never going to get better, and we're not giving that pain away. We're holding on to it ourselves. We're not giving it to God. We're not saying, God, this pain, it's, I understand you wanted my attention. You got my attention. Okay. Can you take the pain away and then show me what you want to show me? I mean, it's pretty simple, God's awesome. God is awesome. Awesome. We just have to, be there for each other, help each other, because it always comes around. It always, a good deed, everybody says no good deed goes unpunished. And in a way that is true. Okay. In a way that is true. Sometimes you do a good deed and then you find out, I shouldn't have done that because I got this other thing just came up, you gave away something that, you didn't, feel was being utilized. And then as soon as you get rid of it, what happens? That's the tool you need, in order to complete your next project. And you didn't even realize it until it was too late. So what do you got to do? You got to go out and find that tool all over again, and I get that. Okay. I do. But the good and the goodness that comes from doing everything you can to help your fellow man, that in itself is its own gift, its own reward. You see somebody without shoes out on the street, give them a pair. Don't go and tell everybody that you just gave them a pair. Okay. Just give them a pair and leave. That was God inspiring you to do that. You don't need to get notoriety for it or anything like that. Okay. Because you're building up your rewards for your real home, not for this place that's temporary, because that's what this is.
I've tried to give shoeless shoes, but they don't fit. I'm size 15.
Dave, we can't help it that you have a size 32 shoe. Okay, it's I mean, how many homeless people do we know that require that big of? You could make 3 pairs of shoes from one of your shoes.
They can make it into a house. Dana L's Phil is not good. We don't listen to Phil here. I called Phil out. I was one of the first people that Phil ever threatened to sue, along with Scranton Times. He's a joke. Look deeper. He's, and he had a relationship with a 15-year-old girl when he was 26 years old, and he was a coach at that school. You got to look deeper. He's not for real. And Q tells us no outside comms. Operators never divulge. He pretends like he's part of Q. He's an absolute joke, without question. I've been doing this 5 years. I've been awake 18 years. I've never seen anything so pathetic as Phil Godlewski. Let's see. So let's thanks, Hawk, for holding down the fort there, pal.
Absolutely. I just kind of went on a little sermon rant. Didn't mean to, but it's I get tired when I see so much negativity, when I know that if we just believe that it can be better, really believe, then we can make changes. We can make effective changes. And I'm effectively thinking right now in a positive mode that you're going to quiet down. Okay, so that one I'm wrong about. Okay. So it was something on X that sent us into the Gaddafi thing there. So we'd have to look at the last one that you read off about there, Dave, in order to get an idea where we were at on that.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, I think it was the farmers. It was the farmland is how we got to that point. You know,
That's right.
and water
That's
being
right.
shut off and stuff.
We got this one too. This is one of yours here that you reshared, and I think it's an interesting concept here.
Got to remember to share your screen, Dave.
That he's talking about. Yeah, I'm doing that now. Here we go.
Am I the only one that finds it weird that they brought all of these people from across the border into the United States, yet they're automatically registering all of our young people to fly out of the United States to go to war? Is this like something that you guys are not seeing? Am I the only person seeing this? So if war breaks out here in America with all of these people that are hiding within the country, but yet they say that they're going to war with some other country and everybody flies out of the country that's 18 to 26 years old, which has now been mandated as an automatic register, what are we supposed to do? We already know you TikTokers are not going to go to war here in America for any reason. You TikTokers, you Call of Duty players, all of you people dressing like, you know, your tight skinny jeans these days. We know you're not going to help protect America. So seems to me that these people have set us up.
Yeah, and he's right. You know, at the same time that all of our young people are about to be drafted, and you know, and the thing is that it's not just men. It's in this bill that they can draft women too. Okay. And it's kind of crazy because if all of our young people go over to fight in another country, who does that leave here to fight here other than us old people?
And I'm back. Sorry. You there? You're on mute.
Yeah, I had to free a puppy. Got themselves stuck.
I had to as well.
What is it today? And
Man,
yesterday.
oh man.
Oh, now you want to love on me because I set you free. Oh, yeah. And if I stop petting you, what's going to happen? You're going to start orangutanging again. Yeah, I know.
Let's see.
You sound like a little orangutan. You're right, Dave. That's 100% it.
You know, I just saw a post here on X that Joe Biden is that we're seeing a letter, federal student aid info. Your student loans have been forgiven. Benjamin, congratulations. The Biden-Harris administration has forgiven your federal student loans listed with Nelnet in full. It's like $8,250. Due to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the balance of your loans that were forgiven is not considered taxable income for federal income tax purposes. Interesting. June 6, 2024. Benjamin Kamens, Sugarberry Lane, Langhorne, Pennsylvania. This is from him. Thanks, Joe Biden. They just bought some votes, folks. They just bought some votes. Without question.
Yep. And now he doesn't have any debt, so now the government can suck him into the military and whisk you away.
Yep.
You know, because if you owe money, they don't really want you. You know, because they want you with a clean credit, clean credit, so that they can make you pay later. Is basically what it boils down to. You know. So.
Yeah. Very interesting how they're just
TG,
flat out.
Yes, TG, it is one puppy, and you can have her. You could go ahead, drive on out here and get her. You can take her now. She's the gabbiest girl that I've ever had.
That's saying a lot right there.
I'm not getting any response from her, though. She's being really quiet, or TG's being really quiet now. I don't know if TG's a boy or a girl, but just saying. Just saying. You like that kind of monkey business, and you come and get her. It's a puppy. A 6-week-old puppy. One of many. And the thing is the other 5 are like really quiet. One of them is laying underneath my feet right here. Another one's laying next to the trash can because the trash can's metal and it's nice and cool. The other 4 are in the backside, stretched out all over the floor. And this one here is just, yeah, exactly. Now, what would you call that you're acting like? You have to be clear and crisp in your responses.
So I was just checking out my friend Rob is hosting a Spaces with Scott Lebedo that he invited me to. Let's check this out a second. Let's see what's happening. I got to pull this over. Yeah. Why don't you mute, bud, and I'll check this out.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. You guys hearing this? Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, no, we weren't hearing any audio.
Fertile ground for them to put the theaters, but we're still going anyway.
That should be it.
Dave Snedeker, glad you could join us, my friend. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Good to see you, my friend. And
can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? All right.
Let's see.
Let me make sure.
Let me see. There are a couple of requests here.
Hold on.
I think we got maximum guests right now. So everyone, if you don't mind, if you'll forgive me, right? We've got maximum 10 speakers with microphones right now. So we'll rotate after we get through the opening 10, 15, 20 minutes. We'll start rotating the speakers around everybody will get a chance, I can promise you, but we're at max capacity right now for speakers. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Good. Can you hear me all right?
I can, Dave. Thanks so much. Dave, meet Scott. Scott, Dave Snedeker is you talk about a badass and a researcher and a man extraordinaire of influence and knowledge. I'm so glad. Dave, I'm sure you know Scott, but you're going to learn a lot more tonight.
Well, Scott, great to meet you, man. And I feel like I know you. I feel like I've been walking the streets of New York City with you for quite some time, and love your artwork. And I brought along a couple thousand friends with us to say hello to you.
Awesome.
He's not kidding.
How about that? Are you streaming this live, Dave?
I am. I jumped over.
Awesome.
We're live on Rumble, The Indoctrination, No Space, and on X at DaveSned. We're live right now with HawkMarsden's with me as well.
Yeah, and you're on HawkMarsden feed number 25 on YouTube.
God wants to put his hand on something, he'll put his hand on something. Like 5 timelines have just converged, and God only knows how many people are going to get to see this message tonight, Scott. So there's an anointing on you, brother. And without any further ado, Scott, do me a huge favor. Introduce yourself to Cool Nation, Dave's audience, and just tell us how you got to here and a bit about your life story. Take as much time as you need.
Those who don't know my work or my mission, I am a pro-American artist, activist, and as you can see behind me, I specialize in renditions of what I call the greatest work of art in the history of civilization. I have been to the Louvre, don't parody. I flirted eye to eye with the Mona Lisa. I have stared in awe at the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. I have touched the painful brushstrokes of a Van Gogh, those thick, painful brushstrokes. When I wasn't supposed to, you're not allowed to, but as an artist, these are the greats, as we say. But to me, this artist, the greatest work of art, the greatest, most important work of art, most beautiful work of art in the history of civilization, in this artist's eyes, is the Star-Spangled Banner. There is nothing else, no other work of art that has so much meaning in the history of civilization, because of what it represents and what it created. When I say that flag, the artists who created it, the people who put the colors in it, which is, to me, the most important color in that flag is the red, because to me that represents the blood of so many. When I was 16, 17, I was chasing girls, drinking beers, and spinning tires on my cheap, shitty hot rod. And there were boys and girls, mostly boys back in the day, who were storming the beaches in Normandy, and so on. And as an artist, as somebody who lives freer than you do, my friend, and pretty much all of you out there, I live the freest life. I am a effing eagle. I soar where I want to soar. I eat what I want to do. I paint what I want. I say what I want. No one controls that. Nobody. And it is only because I have that, only because of the flag and those who made that sacrifice, as I speak of. So I'm going to try to go quick here so I don't bore you, but I've been an artist my whole life. And back in the early 90s, I went to go find myself in the big Manhattan. I want to let you folks know I'm from Staten Island. And if you don't know what Staten Island is, it is one of the 5 boroughs of this big liberal city, New York. But Staten Island is like a little town in Butte, Montana, or West Virginia, where there's working people, cops, firemen, civil servants of all walks, patriotism. Flags are always in people's houses. My grandpa was in World War II, and that flagpole, we were kids, we didn't know what it meant. We were playing in the yard. My cousin owns the house. Generations later, that same flagpole is still there. And you don't realize what it means until you're a little older. But Staten Island, we are pro-military. We are a lot of veterans here, a lot of veterans organizations, working people, just those working, middle class working. We are very diverse here, but it's that kind of element that I came from. And then I walk into Manhattan in the early 90s to find myself as an artist. And what do I see? I see the art world, all of them. 99% of the creative community desecrating, defecating our American flag, hating on our military, calling them oppressors, American values being trashed in the arts. Now, I'm open-minded. I'm an artist. I have a lot of liberal tendencies. But when I saw this, it broke my heart, because us artists, we have more freedoms than anybody in this effing country. And to see the art community bite the hand that feeds them, I said, you know what? I don't care how rich and famous this art world is going to make me. I don't want any part of it. Here's my calling. They don't like that flag. They don't like America that gave them this unbelievable gift to abuse Amendment 1. And they bite the hand that feeds them. So I was like, this is my calling. I'm going to paint this flag now. The American flag, that's my subject. I'm going to paint it on cars, on buildings, on rooftops across this country, everywhere. I don't care if people don't even want it, to show the beauty of it in a different light through the unusual suspect, the artist. And at the same time, in the early 90s, I noticed this little monster that popped out of the ground with these little sharp teeth. It's called politically correct wokeism. And I said, wait a minute, not prophetically. I ain't no prophet, I'm just a regular guy with a set of balls and a gift that God gave me. I said, I got to start warning people, because this little monster, this little politically correct woke monster, is eventually going to devour everything that this country was built on and the greatness of it. And folks, 30 years, got arrested, got beaten, property destroyed, and I stuck with it, kept doing it, getting arrested, just getting out there, showing the truth against these people that hate this country, whether it was governors, presidents, a city council, mayors. And here we are. Here we are. There ain't a person watching this right now, because if you're watching this, you're on our side. You understand. There ain't one of you out there who doesn't realize that it is 11:30. And at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, we lose this effing country forever, or we get it back to the way it was. See, that's where we're at. And that's what I've been doing with my life. And this is the moment. That's why this movie about what I've done for 30 years is important. It's not a movie about me. I don't care about making money off of this. I could have made money. I could make millions if I stayed with the isms and succumbed to the isms of this elitist America-hating creative community. I said, F you. And they told me the same thing. But here we are. There's a reason. And this movie, we got it out into 1,000 theaters across this country. And the next day, the elites in the business pulled it. Pulled it. Because they don't want American values and tradition and patriotism in the theaters. That's why we need people to go see it at this last minute, to get that last steamroll, to prove to them that we can bring back this kind of element into the theater that was taken away from us. I want to take a breath now.
Scott, brother, we have to take your work and your passion and your heart and your soul and your courage, and that has to be played in the theater of our minds on the daily. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get into this, but your courage is contagious. And you're an artist, you're a free man. And I want to pick up on something. This is a fight. And you're right. We have 30 minutes to go to save this country before they try to take it down, or at least before they tried to take it down. I hope and pray to God we've already checkmated them. There's a lot of waking up to do. There's a hell of a lot of work to do. We can't take a damn thing for granted. But if we're going to spar, if we are going to fight this enemy, this wokeism, this political correct monster with teeth, these against all enemies, foreign and domestic, they brought this war to our shores, and they are infiltrating every element of society. That puts all of us on active duty, whether we want to be or not. We can stick our head in the sand, doesn't matter, we're still on active duty. And this is what I love about you, brother. The word spar, when you go to fight, you spar with another person. The acronym for me means, first of all, you have to stand. You have to stand. You have to have power. You have to have authority, and you have to have rights. SPAR. If you're going to fight, you're going to spar with someone, and you have to damn well better know you've got the right to be in the ring. You've got power, that you've got standing and authority to be there. And otherwise, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're not even going to stand a chance in hell if you don't know what your rights are. That makes every single one of us on this call, and every single American, whether they know it or not, we are our own damn attorney general, because I have to know what the law is. I have to know what I am in charge of, and I can't outsource my standing, my authority, my power, or my rights to anybody else and have them fight for me. At the end of the day, Scott, we got to all try to fight like you, brother. I want to say thank you, man.
Don't. I appreciate your thanks, and I get accolades up the wazoo, and I love it, but I don't have time to think about that. And the accolades, people call me a hero, like you mentioned that, and I really appreciate those kind words. But I ain't no hero. And the heroes are those who made the sacrifice and are still overseas making the sacrifice and are joining the military. And these guys coming back with, from Afghanistan with, missing 3 effing limbs, and I didn't have the balls to serve. I didn't. This is what God gave me. He didn't give me a gun and a bayonet. He gave me paint and brush. And but I want to touch on something you kind of said a little bit. And again, will say this till I'm blue in the face. Again, I could have done so many things to just make people love me and buy my work and everything. I'm not here to make effing friends. I'm here to drop the truth. For all of these years, and I've taken my beatings. I've taken my property destroyed. I've made my sacrifices with relationship, blah, 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 blah. But I want you to understand, we can blame the left, the radical left, and the globalists, and the George Soroses, and the governors, and the president, and Biden, and the shitty mayors of my city and the cities across this country. But I've learned to realize, whose fault this is, brother?
Mine.
It's our fucking fault.
Mine.
Sorry about that.
It's everybody's fault.
Let me finish. Let me get a little more detailed. Okay. The radical left this is how the world is. This is how this country is. I don't want it to be perfect. I don't hang out with all conservatives. I hang out with liberals with a little bit of, sanity per se, but I like discourse. All of these years, I'm an artist. Let me tell you something. If the radical conservatives were destroying this country at this point, the way the left is, I would be doing the same exact, and those people around me who know me close, I would be doing the same exact thing for the left to bring the balance. All I care about is balance. That's what this country is built on. Now, what happened is we were complacent. Milk and honey are the 2 words, okay, that I bring up. Because you walk into a supermarket and there's 68 different variations of goddamn Cheerios. We are supposed to have that. It's milk and honey that men and women died for us to have. That's what makes this country special. And people envy us because we have those choices. But we were complacent. We said, how can anybody take this away? All this delicious milk and honey. Not from away, not from overseas, not an enemy from overseas, but from right here. And they did it. And that's where we are right now. It's our effing fault. And my job for the last 30 years and in this film, The Relentless Patriot, and everything I do when I get arrested, I don't want people to do what I do. Everybody has a calling. I want you to learn how to fight. I want you to learn how to don't be afraid of what people are going to call you. Well, he don't like the black mayor, so he's a racist. He don't want drag queens swinging their junk in front of 6-year-olds, so he's a homophobe. You know you're not those things, so what are you cowering for? It's just a word. It's 11:30. You people need to stop being wussies and stand the F up. Sorry, it's tough love. It's tough love, people.
Scott, you're 1,000% over the target, brother. Josie, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. If you would drop in the purple pill for me, just so I don't mess up the camera and the broadcast here. The trailer to Scott's video, I want to put it in the purple pill, and I want everyone on this call or listening to this recording to please make sure. He's already gotten over 1 million views. Watch the trailer and share the trailer with every human being you possibly can, however you can do it. Scott, tell me when the idea of the movie first came to you, when you started it. Tell us about the movie and anything else you want us to know, please.
Before I get into the movie, I want to explain something else. I'm sorry, I don't know if I have time, but
take your time. You've got as much time as you need. The floor is yours.
I want people to look at the painting behind me. I've done 1 million different renditions of the Stars and Stripes. They're not always perfect flag. They're the way I see it. Exciting, abstract, sometimes surreal, sometimes clean lines. And, you know, there's 1 million. I've been doing it for 30 years. I love this work of art. I'm not a genius. I'm not Michelangelo. My mission is a messenger to celebrate the greatest work of art with my talent. That's all I am. I ain't nobody special. It ain't the execution of my brush strokes. It's the subject that I have chosen because of the importance of it. Art has changed society since the cave paintings, since the beginning of mankind. Art is the unsung hero. Not me. Art. Culture. So this painting behind me is one of my latest, one of my favorite. I've been always wanting to do this painting, and I finally got to it a few months ago. It's called Discipline/Wild. That is America to me. That's what America is. We're wild and fun. You know, we're free and wild and experimental and curious and flowing. And then we're very disciplined, conformed, conservative. That's America. But we lost that. We got separated because this side, the radical wild left went too far, took it to the effing moon. And it destroyed everything. That's what America's supposed to be. I just want people to see that. You might disagree. Well, I don't like the way it's squiggly. And I don't care what you think. I am the interpreter here. Because I see America. I traveled this country through every state painting giant flags on buildings. For the last 20-something years, I did it 3 times in one sitting in my old truck, just begging people to let me paint flags, living with people from all walks of life. I got to continue here with this is the most important thing. It's in the movie, but I'm going to give it away a little bit. Why is the American flag the most beautiful work of art, Scott? Why isn't the French flag the most beautiful? Why isn't it? Let me explain. It's very effing simple. The French flag is a beautiful flag. Again, as an artist, the German flag is beautiful. The Italian flag is beautiful. The Sicilian flag, the Indian flag, and so on across the world. But ladies and gentlemen, there is only one flag that represents all of those flags, all of those ethnicities. The German flag represents Germans, the Italian, and so on and so on. American flag represents the world. It represents every organic culture from every corner of this sphere that is floating in this universe. That's why it is the greatest flag, the greatest work of art, because it represents humanity. It doesn't represent MAGA people. It doesn't represent just gay or straight or black or white or green or purple. Or it represents everyone. Do you get it? People need to get that, especially my critics. Sorry, go.
Just 1 second, sir. I'm posting this. Please do. Please do.
It's passion. It's not anger. It's passion.
It is passion.
How do I get?
David, only you, brother. You always bring it with a punchline, man. But you know, everyone that's listening to this recording or listen to me live at scottlebedo.com, you can go and watch the trailer. Or if you will please follow Scott, his pinned tweet has the trailer to his movie so that you can watch it, you can share it, you can see it. Watch it 3 times. But one of the things that we need to do, and I'm going to turn this back to Scott here in just a second, is we need, with a sense of urgency, to go see this movie in the next day or 2 or 3. Find it. It's playing at AMC theaters. They need us to go and watch the movie, and it's got like a 97 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a badge of honor for all of us. The users that go and see, the viewers that go and see the movie rate it 100%. The assholes and the woke tards rate it the exact opposite. So, but money talks and bullshit walks. We need to go see this movie. If we can buy 5 or 10 or 20 tickets and give them away, let's do it. But Scott, I wanted to, if someone could, let's see, somebody's got their open mic going on. Let's see. I'm going to close a couple of mics here in just a second. Scott, what you got me, and brother, you can get my blood boiling fast. What this country represents for every human being alive on planet Earth. The founding fathers wrote about America, that before this nation was ever even born, our rights existed. All rights existed, created by something greater than us before they even put pen to paper. And that's regardless of race, creed, color, national origin, gender, artist, left, right, doesn't matter. This was a covenant document signed from man to the creator on behalf of everybody that wanted the idea of America to come here and live here. It's not about a genetic test. It's not whether you were born here or not born here. It's if you have the balls to be an American and live up to the standards of what it means to be American. That's what the document is about. And that's why heroes that we all know have shed blood over those very principles of we have standing, we have rights, we have authority. This is a land of liberty and sovereignty. Live and let live, and get your ass out of my business. If I'm not hurting someone or doing anything dangerous, leave me to hell alone, and I'll leave you alone. But we're not supposed to have our government is 4 times, it is bigger than China and India, and they both have 4 times the population of America, because we went to sleep and let this place become a tyrannical shithole run by a bunch of governors on our watch. We let them do that.
Yep.
We did it.
Yep.
And we have to undo it. There's no other way this is going to happen unless we cannot let the impression that our ass leaves on the sofa be bigger than the impression we leave in the world before we take our last breath.
Brilliant.
We have got to get off the effing couch and start cracking some eggs and cracking some heads, taking back our liberty and putting the Karens and the Kevins and the woke tards and the politically correct people back in their little boxes, politely if possible. But if we don't know what our rights are, we don't have any rights. We don't have them. We have to know what they are. And then we have to exercise them. It's like having a gym and never going to the damn gym. What the hell good is a gym if you don't damn go and exercise? What the hell good are our rights if we sit around and on our hands, on our ass with our mouths closed and we don't take action? Whose fault is that? Ours.
That's what I'm saying. You know, look, you mentioned cracking some heads. The beauty is I've done this 1,000 protests. Every single one of them were peaceful. Even the ones I ran here in Staten Island, where we shut down 3 illegal immigrant shelters, illegal alien shelters like nobody else. You know why? Because I made that battle call. I called tough love out. I called the guilt card to get the F off your ass. I got to go out in the street and fight for you by myself. My kid doesn't go to that school across the street from the illegal alien shelter where these men are dressing up like prostitutes going out in the middle of the night. Your kid goes there. So finally they came out. You don't have to be violent. We don't need Amendment 2 yet. We have Amendment 1. People need to, it's so easy. For instance, your kid goes to a school. He's 6 years old. And you're teaching, that teacher's teaching your 6-year-old kid that it's okay for him to have a sex change. And you're not in that school's face. You own that fucking school. You own it. Your tax dollars own that public school. You grab 20 people from your community, even if the kids don't go to that school, and you walk into that school peacefully, but using this fucking tongue that men and women died for you to use. And you get in that school's face and you say, no, you are not teaching my kid this. And if everybody did that in every school, they wouldn't be teaching your son that he could stick his finger up Johnny's como si cam at 6 years old. And everybody's sitting there typing, this is bad. What do I do? I'm telling you what to do. Sorry,
Scott,
I get aggravated every minute of
the
the
problem being is.
But hold on just a moment. Hold on. I'll come to you in just a moment. I promise. What we're having to take the dust off, Scott, is realize, in fact, the pen is mightier than the sword, and the paintbrush is mightier than the sword, and the tongue, the spoken word of knowledge, is mightier than the sword. Every war is started with the mouth or a word or a document or written words, and every war is ended with written words and a wedding signature and an agreement. If we don't understand how powerful the spoken word is, and we learn how to use those words artfully and correctly, we're never going to win this war. Whether it's a pen, whether it's a radio call-in show, whether it's standing in front of a city council or a school board or an idiot high school principal and speaking truth to these people, that's how we take our country back. Now, I do not advocate violence in any way, shape, or form, but if people want to take my words of truth as a violent assault or feeling as I'm attacking them because I'm hurting their frail little feelings. I don't give two shits. Truth is period. Truth is law. Truth is power. Truth is. And if people haven't come to that realization yet or don't know, have never familiarized themselves with truth, that's their problem, not mine. Scott, tell us about the movie, please, sir, if you don't mind. It is so damn well done. Tell me about you, the director, the mission. I want to know. Don't leave anything out. I want to know about this movie.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I don't like to bore people. I like to get direct to the point, as you kind of figured out by now. I love it. I just deliver what I see. It just comes out. It's what it is. Again, it's being the artist and a patriot, passionate patriot. The movie is about my 30 years of this fight, and it is. Yeah, it's about me and my work and my travels and supporting the veterans and the cops and the flag and the traveling and the arrests and the humiliation and the beatings. It's more of a movement than a movie. It's not a movie. It's a movie, but it's a movement. Okay, it's a call to action. It is a battle cry. And the problem why I'm actually on your show is because we had guys like Scott McKay, a great patriot, who said he saw the movie and he said, this needs to be seen now, right now, across this country, this movement. These aren't my words. These are his words and many others' words, because it is a wake-up call for people to do something, to come to action at 11:30. And the reason we're doing this grassroots to the real patriots who aren't watching, the certain news channels and all of that. These are the real patriots that are watching right now, or your fans, your followers, that we are reaching out to, because we had 1,000 theaters when we opened up Thursday night on the 13th across the country. And we sold out quite a few, but a lot, nobody even went to the theaters because Hollywood does not want this kind of movie in the theaters. You see, so we need people to go. They brought it down. They pulled the movie from most of the theaters, even places that were sold out. Pulled it. It's supposed to be making money. It's business. They pulled it because of their hatred of putting another form of entertainment in the theaters, like conservative, family, American valued entertainment. They just want to keep sticking you with this woke bullshit. So they pulled it. And there's only 160 theaters, I think, left. They're just sporadic. You can't even find them on Fandango. They were supposed to put posters up, supposed to be on the marquee, supposed to be behind the thing that says the Relentless Patriot is 7. Nothing. Nothing. But I'm okay because I know my battle. I know what I've always been fighting. So this is just another battle. But the importance of the movie is what is importance. That it's going to change people. It's going to get people off that couch. Children have seen this movie. I curse, I smoke in the movie, but parents don't care because they don't notice the cursing or the smoking. They notice that their children love the movie. I'm talking 10, 12, 13, still texting me, obsessed with it. That says a lot, that they're going to be patriotic now. They're going to think now. Instead of trying to, what do we do? What do we do with these kids? This is what you do with them. You show them this movie. So the call to action is, you people, we have 160 theaters for 2 more days, tonight and tomorrow. And then they pull it again. Unless people buy tickets, it's $15. Again, I'll repeat this. I could have been a millionaire 10 times over 30 years ago if I succumbed to the isms of the art world and did what they told me to do. But that's not who I am. I don't care about money right now. I care about a mission that God gave me. I ain't nobody special. There's a lot of people like me. Okay, I just happen to be the one talking to you right now. There's a mission. So we need people to buy tickets. Some lady bought the whole theater out for $1,200. Nobody even sat in there, just to prove to these Hollywood elites that their tickets are being sold, to prove to them. Because if this movie fails in the theater, it's still going to streaming. We're working on that. But I don't want people to go to see it. Wait till you're sitting back to what you said. I'll just sit on my couch and stain my shirt with fat food here and not leave the, go out and see the movie, bring people to show and prove that you're willing to change the concept of art, theater, music. We're seeing it happen. Got a lot of black rappers coming around now, a lot of creative people coming out, Hollywood. The director of this movie, Chris Martini, he made that decision 5 years ago when he decided to do this, because he saw what I did and he says, I think like you, Scott, but I need to be brave and step up and get outside the shadows and come out of the closet. And then Josh Macchiello, who was supposed to be on tonight, he has something else to do, from Global Ascension Studios. He made that chance. He said, you know what? F Hollywood. I want to be the new studio to bring American value, a conservative light. Again, my movie's raw because I'm raw. It's not bunnies and rainbows. It's the hard truth from the other side, from the right side. So these are brave people that are finally coming around. But now we need your help to help us make that effing change. It's that simple. It ain't about money. It's about fixing this mess before we wind up like The Road. If you don't know The Road, watch that movie. It's an apocalyptic movie about the end of times and how you'll shoot your brother in the back to get a can of food to feed your child and eat your neighbor's dog to feed your child. It's real. We're that close to that happening. And I'm gonna sleep at night, even if that does happen. You know why? Because I got off my fucking couch for 30 fucking years. Just asking you people to get off your couch for an hour and a half. Again, forgive me. I'm not angry at you. It's passion and it's tough love.
Scott, brother, you know what you just said? I'm going to put an exclamation point on it. God did not call us to a playground. He called us to a battlefield because he knew that evil lurked, and we are destroyed by our lack of knowledge about that evil and what men are capable of doing. You give people a certain amount of power and they will abuse the hell out of it until we stop them. And the only way it happens is when we look, we know we outnumber them 500,000 to 1. How the hell are they still winning? How the hell are they still doing what they're doing when we outnumber them by an incredible number? It's obvious what's happening. We're sitting on our asses.
And that's very much.
Asses. That's the only way. So, Scott, this is what I want to do. Everyone that's listening, thank you for this, for letting us go on here. What I want to do is, because we have so many people that are speaking now, what I'm going to do is, if you have a question, please raise your hand. I'm going to try to call your hands out. Once you've had a chance to speak and ask a question, I'm going to ask you if it's at all possible to drop down as a listener, because there's 5 more of you besides the 10 that have a microphone right now that are asking to join me, and I can't bring 5 more up unless I have 5 of you drop. So, David, I'm going to start with you, brother. If you've got a question or anything you'd like to a comment, anything you'd like to say to us, brother, the floor is yours. Mr. Dave, are you there? You might be multitasking. All right, I'm going to skip David. Josie, would you like to say something?
Sure. I what Scott is saying about getting off your couch, there are things that you can do that will make huge impact. One of them is taking over your school boards. I know that people don't think that that's a big deal, but you don't understand the power of the school board. It directs our children. It allows us to have control over what the teachers are teaching the children. And I'll give you an example. In Chicago yesterday, they had hundreds of people lining up to join the school board. In Chicago, it's a great idea, but the ultimate decision of whether you are elected or not is up to Brandon Johnson, the mayor. And pretty much we know who he's going to select. He's not going to select anybody that diverts from his new world order globalist agenda. Unfortunately, New York and Chicago are a lot alike. They're Democrat run, and there's a small portion of that state that is dictating, of the city that's dictating what happens in the state. There are things that you can do. The school board's very important. You have to rally like-minded people. It's very easy to do. Get on X. I suggest ditching Facebook completely for many reasons that I can't get into, but get on X, trying to get in groups. That show is a great show because of the fact that he's very generous. He's a man of God, and he is a very calm voice in this storm. I see him get a little upset sometimes, like yesterday, but it's only because when you're greeted with total compassion and somebody who's really trying to hear you out, like we're going to rub against each other. This is what this country was made for. We're rubbing against each other. We're not all going to agree. But what we need to do is be civil to one another. You can always learn from somebody, even the Democrats. I learn a lot of things from speaking from Democrats, learning from people at school boards in all different cities and states. I traveled the South, Kentucky, Georgia, Tennessee. I reluctantly traveled the South because I had to leave the city of Chicago because of a rogue judge trying to 86 me and put me in a mental institution for filing lawful paperwork. But it was a gift from God because I went and I learned, and I went to each state, cities, dealt with so many different people, and basically everybody wanted the same thing for their kids. They wanted the same thing for their cities. They just wanted to get along. They wanted to live unencumbered by the government, and they wanted to make their own choices as far as where their families and their homes, their property, and their children were concerned. It's a really easy thing to do, and your school board's probably coming up for you to, seek election. I would just say, get in, do that. And pretty much that's all I have to say. Scott, you kill me. You remind me of a lot of people I grew up with in Elmwood Park. Except the guys in Elmwood Park, the only thing that they were artists with were big cans of spray paint. But you remind me of somebody named Mickey D, and you guys are exact twins. He's like, who's this Scott Levito? I'm like, you don't know him? He's not on social media. A lot of the guys my age, they don't go on social media. But you have a doppelganger out there, but he isn't as artistic as you. But I thank you for your fight. Thanks for letting me talk, Ross.
Thank you, Josie. Scott?
Thank you, Josie. If I could respond.
Please.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. And as tough as it is, listen, my tombstone is going to say easy's for wussies. I don't like easy. If it was easy, I would have done something different. There's also, it doesn't necessarily have to be the school board. Just peacefully assemble. See, too many people on our side don't peacefully assemble. And I've finally got people after the last few years to finally come out, working people, police, firemen who are a little incognito, but they're there, grandmothers, women with children, and then before you finish, because I know what some of you are thinking, well, I have to work. My response is to that. Our founding fathers had to work. They had farms to crop and families to feed. They lost the crops for the day. They lost a lot of money and a lot of food, but they went out and they fought to save the country from the beginning. So when you say, I got to work, but you'll take off to go on vacation, which is fine, I'm not knocking that. But if you feel the pain and the danger coming here to your community, that your children's future is effed, and everything you worked for is effed, real soon, you could take a sick day. Don't give me that I gotta work shit. Again, more tough love, kids. Peacefully assemble. The difference between us and them is when they assemble, they're violent and destructive. Everything that they claim they weren't. Liberalism is not liberal. My mother was liberal. She was an old hippie liberal, a real liberal. Liberals used to love art. They didn't tear it down. They loved free speech. They walked around smoking pot and wearing hippies and beards and smelled a little bit. They loved. They didn't like violence. They put flowers in rifles. Remember the 60s and 70s? These liberals are the new fascists. They are the most violent. They are the most haters of free expression. Look at all this artwork being torn down. See what I'm saying? That's them. That's what us people, us American patriots. We need to get out and assemble peacefully because Big Brother sees that. That's why we won all these battles here in Staten Island, because Big Brother, the mayor, they had the drones. They couldn't believe that we got these people who would never come out in the street finally fighting. And that's how we won. All those small battles, a bunch of small battles add up to the big win.
Scott, what Josie just said, if you don't think a school board's important, and there's 1,000 kids in that building or more, God only knows how many kids are in that elementary school or middle school or high school. If that building
Brother, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
I need to use the restroom. I'll be right back in 2 minutes, so you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody, if you don't mind, that's great. Man, nothing but 100% authenticity. Everybody, please do me a favor. Retweet this space while Scott's on a quick break. I'm going to go to Vivian as soon as Scott comes back, and then my dear good friend Brad Wozny of the Sovereign Soul Show. Brad, I see you, brother. Thank you. This interview and this live stream tonight would not be possible had Brad not introduced me to Scott. Brad is a brother from another mother with an unbelievable story of his own. I've been so blessed and fortunate to be on Brad's show, I think maybe 3 times. But Brad, thank you for being here. Everyone, please, I promise you, Scott's told me he'll give us all the time we need. I am going to rotate through the speakers and get to your hands. So if you have a question, Cheryl, I see that you're requested. Dutch, Allie, M. Clip, Lee, I see you there. Please know I'm not ignoring you. I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. If you are a speaker in the space and you do not want to ask a question or don't have a question, I'd ask you to please go ahead and drop down to listener mode so I can pull those that are requesting to ask Scott a question to please do so. And Dave, I'll make sure I do a formal introduction so you have each other's contact information. Thank you, David, for live streaming us, brother. I salute you, and please tell Hawk thank you as well. Thanks. Okay, Vivian, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Rob. How are you? Thank you so much for the space. And I don't really have a
All right, my friends, that was a treat. I'm glad we finally got to connect on that after I launched onto the wrong page there for a moment. But yeah, thanks for to Scott Lebedo and Rob at in Rob's Twitter, my friends, is at Cool Show. And I had it up just a minute ago, and I'm just trying to find that again. Here it is. At Cool Show, KUWL Show. And that's great that Rob had him on. Any thoughts on that, Hawk? Or I can talk if you're tied up.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're tied up. I could wrap things up for us here tonight. We are at nearly let's see, 1,800 people in the Sned Shed in the Hawk's Nest tonight. or should I say the dog pen. And if you can see Hawk's background there, you can understand why he's muted. He's got a 2-ring circus going on right now with all those beautiful animals. Pretty cool to hear Scott Lebedo. I've always enjoyed him, and I love most recently when he released that huge release of dicks in balloon form, which is what that question, not a question, but that what was my comment was all about. Yeah, my friends, we are Hawk is getting tied up. I have to do a dinner, so I do want to wrap this up, and I do want to let you know that I'm going to be coming to you here in the next day or two. Also, Sir Censorlot Oliver had actually was trying to get him on tonight, but he's not able to join us until much later when we won't be on. But yeah, I'll see about hitting you guys up tomorrow, possibly tomorrow night, and with some good stuff. And so thanks for hanging out with us, folks. And I am really glad to hang with you, Hawk. And we will do this again soon, my friend. Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to do one tonight after I get these guys bedded down. So I'm going to do a late night tonight. Probably. See, I'm the new maestro. All together now. I'm the new maestro now.
All right, brother. Hey, hit me up later. Maybe I'll join you.
Okay.
All right. Good night, my friends. Be well, and we'll talk soon. Much love. Bye-bye.